here we are with a 4-year, $112 million plus extension in Pittsburgh. But the breaking news isn't the number, it's the structure. And this was always going to be the breaking point with this contract and this player, because a position of power like the edge rusher and a system that doesn't guarantee base salaries, there was going to be a breaking point. Either TJ Watt doesn't get this deal in this city, or they have to break tradition, which is exactly what happened in Pittsburgh. Not only did TJ Watt get his base salary this year guaranteed, he got the next 3 years of base salary fully guaranteed right now at signing. Incredible get for him. There's really no other way around it. I know you're seeing the stories that he walked into the room and said, "We're done with negotiating. We're not going to try to milk a couple extra million out of this because we can get down to a deadline." He settled in on $80 million fully guaranteed, which is a gigantic number. All right. Yes, it passes Joey Bosa. Yes, it rivals many other quarterbacks that have contracts right now. It is not just the highest defensive contract in history. The structure of this thing is as strong as a quarterback contract. It's excellent. It is an excellent deal. And you can say that Pittsburgh overpaid. Who else are they paying right now? All right, they didn't pay Juju. They let him walk. They brought him back on $8 million. They restructured Ben down to about half of his compensation. Who knows where that goes next year? They probably won't be paying a quarterback next year of any worth if Ben retires. It'll be going back into the draft pool or bringing in an Andy Dalton or somebody like that. They don't have mouths to feed. They just drafted their running back. He's going to be cost-controlled for 5-6 years. And Minkah Fitzpatrick is really the only other option, and he's going to get a contract that's similar to this, but cost-adjusted for the defensive backs. So this was a no-brainer from a positional standpoint, from a player standpoint, and from a team-building standpoint. They can keep this defense secure. They can keep this defense ticking well, even if the offensive side of things slips a little bit. So let's break this thing down. I mentioned 4 new years, $112 million plus new years. That gets you over $28 million a year. Joey Bosa's $27 million was the number to beat. It crushes it. The $35 million signing bonus is tiny. I expected this thing to be north of $50 million because Pittsburgh doesn't guarantee base salaries. They didn't have to go that route this time. They kept this tempered, and we'll get to why in a second, but that's the big number right there. $80 million right down the gut. It's over the next 3 years. It's all fully guaranteed, and here's how they got there. Obviously, they kept the base salary low this year. This was a $10.9 million fifth-year option that got converted into $36 million in cash this year. So he's happy about his compensation this year for sure. In terms of the cap, you're saving over $2 million of cap space this year if you're Pittsburgh. That's why these extensions happen when they do. That's why teams don't take it down to the wire. They can save themselves cap money right now by doing this deal today, and that's what they did here. Going forward, $24 million next year in terms of fully guaranteed base salary means a $31 million cap hit. The reason I'm going to target this right here, and the reason I mentioned this was a smaller signing bonus, is I believe that there's language in this contract to restructure this salary. It's fully guaranteed. So come March, you can convert this to a signing bonus, bring it down to maybe $1.5 million of salary, push the rest into a signing bonus that adds dead cap here. So while this number is relatively low right now, I expect this to be an extra $5 to $6 million every year in terms of the dead cap proration here. So it's going to look a lot different going forward. That's also why these 3 years are guaranteed, but I'm making this a 4-year practical contract, the potential out after 2024, because I believe this restructure will add significant dead cap to these next 4 years. So that's just an assumption on my part, but I think it's a good one. I don't think Pittsburgh wants to live with a $31 million cap hit for TJ Watt. They very well could if they want to keep things kind of front-loaded, and knowing that there's big cap boosts coming in 23 and 24 from the league. Maybe you just take your medicine in 2022 and let it live out as it is, which would make things a lot easier here in 24 and certainly here in 2025 when Watt pushes past that 30 age mark. So $1 million fully guaranteed, $24 million fully guaranteed, $20 million fully guaranteed, and that signing bonus fully guaranteed. That's your $80 million right out of the gate here. And there's really no way to look at it. When you're talking about cumulative cash, I'm not even talking about defensive players. I'm talking about a bunch of quarterbacks and now TJ Watt. His 60 over the next 2 years, that's 10th in the league. It's 9 quarterbacks in TJ Watt. The 80 over 3 is 11th in the league. 10 quarterbacks, then TJ Watt. And the 101 is 10th in the league. 9 quarterbacks and TJ Watt through 4 years. So the cash flow is excellent. The cap structure is decent. Like I said, this will be lowered. These will be raised a little bit, but 2023 is when we expect that TV money cap to hit. So I believe this is structured exactly how Pittsburgh wanted to. I believe that the agents probably wanted to push a little bit more and really try to push this guaranteed money a little bit more, higher. Maybe kick in a rolling guarantee in 2024, maybe a roster bonus in 2024 that would vest in March to sort of secure that year. But I think the compensation is they boosted the base salary in 2022, which meant they're going to restructure that. He'll get that money in March of 2022, and that'll secure his roster spot in 2024 because of the high dead cap hit. That's the way I look at it right now, and I think it's excellent. I think everything here hits the notes for a high-level defensive player on a team that can afford to do this because there's not many offensive mouths to feed right now. In 3 years, it's a totally different story. But this is a guy you want to keep because you can stay relevant with TJ Watt as an edge rusher, with Minkah Fitzpatrick in the secondary, and with Devin Bush in the middle of your linebacking core. That's the right recipe right now for a strong defensive-minded team with a good running game. We're going back to old school Pittsburgh Steelers football. I don't know who's going to be slinging those balls at the quarterback position, but the rest of it is built in to the way they want it to be. And this contract is just kind of step one for that process, for the rebuild on the fly process for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's how it breaks down. It's a pretty simple contract. Like I said, it's well structured for both sides here. And I think TJ Watt and the Watt family are pretty darn happy with this outcome. My name is Mike Ginnitti. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Contract Breakdowns from Spotrac.